Hey guys, okay, welcome to Moxie Monday. It is September 17th. It is midway through September, which is also ending the third quarter of the year, which is amazing and crazy. So much has happened already in 2018. Today was also the ginormous launch for Pumpkin Spice Latte. I ordered some. I'm excited. It's going to be so amazing in my belly because we don't get fall in Florida. And so it's going to be like grandma's warm pumpkin pie. You know, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. I can't wait. It is probably already sold out. Last time I saw, is it already sold out? Or it said 75% sold out a couple hours ago, which is crazy. And it was fully expected. So I hope that you pick some up. I hope that your customers pick some up. And tonight I'm going to talk to you hopefully in a very a short and effective way. I'm going to teach you about systems. And I teach about systems because I want your life to be simple. September for me is all about simplifying and focusing on really what my priorities are in this business to move the goal forward instead of being really busy doing a lot of different things that really aren't building traction or momentum for my business. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. So okay, first of all, what is a system anyways? I know like this is not a sexy topic. I completely understand why you probably will never watch this recording. It's wham until you realize you need it. Then you're going to think, oh wait, that one time Laura taught Moxie Monday on developing systems. Maybe I could have come up with like a better way to say systems, but y'all, that's not my strength. My strength is not making things super fluffy. It's just getting to the point and make sure, yes, you will need this one day, and hopefully you start implementing it because it will save you time, stress, and money. So what is a system? A system is a documented procedure and process that allows your business to run without you, or better yet, for you. Hallelujah. Let's just take a moment to let's take a moment of silence for that. For our business to run without us, or better yet, for us. What in the world? Okay, so I've been listening to this podcast by Bob Heilig, and he did a recent podcast about momentum, and he taught a lot about this, and I'm going to go over some of the content he shared. But he said, if your team culture is people dependent and not system dependent, he said, then you're going to run yourself dry. I was like, hold up, Bob. You don't know my team. We love people. We are people. And we didn't have a conversation, so I'm not going to say, and then he said, and then I said, because that would be lying. But in my mind, we were having an argument about this very subject. So he's like, if your business is people dependent, then you're going to be relying on, one, your own capacity and energy and what your leadership or your ceiling, and I'm not as consistent as I would like to be. I'm not perfect. I probably say really stupid things in my invites, or I get sloppy and I forget to follow up, or I say I'm going to be really consistent in my challenge groups, but then I'm like, oh, whoops, I have gained 5 pounds since last week because of stress eating. So like we're humans, but what if the system that we created could manage us, could manage that, and could also provide stability and safety and a sense of trust within our challenge groups and our team. So this is what I mean when it says this is going to help us run our businesses without us and for us. To build momentum, we need systems. And I know all of us want momentum, right? So we need personal momentum. I talked about this last week, company momentum and team momentum. But the beautiful thing is that you create team momentum by doing these 3 things. Giving people a very clear goal, like completely clear goal, not like, well, you want to be a coach? That's awesome. Good luck, because you can earn some money, and like throwing them out there, or like sea turtling them by, I've used that analogy before, and I know it's silly, but if you think about it, sea turtles, okay, in Florida, there's like tortoises are an endangered species. And so if you see one, or if like there's a place on the beach that has a little hole with a turtle in it, it's like all of a sudden off limits. You can't touch it, can't breathe on it, can't walk by it, or you will go to jail because it's a federal offense to harm an endangered species. So these tortoises are like taking over the world in Florida, to the point where our church is trying to build a new building and we can't get a building permit because the tortoise has parked its home and built a hole in the ground where we were supposed to build. So everything is on hold. but they have something going for them. And it's kind of sad, but sea turtles, what they do is these mom and daddies, okay, maybe it's a turtle. Can y'all see the video? It's a turtle. Okay. They crawl their little cells, they're actually giant, onto the beach. They have their little eggs, and then they leave. And then they leave, go back to the ocean. And then what happens? These little babies and these little eggs, they hatch. And they are responsible for finding the ocean by themselves without being attacked by a bird, without being exhausted, without getting lost. And it's like, good luck over there. Goodbye. I do not want us to sea turtle our coaches. I don't want you to sea turtle your customers. I want you to help them and serve them. Now, does that mean that every ounce of your day should be extended to make sure that their needs are met? No, because you want to empower them. But for the first 90 days, it is your responsibility to coach your customers and to coach your coaches. It's your responsibility to coach your coaches forever. But the concept is this. You need to give them a clear goal of what to expect. Okay, the first goal, do this. First month, first 2 weeks, do this. That's where systems come into place. You can have I'm not trying to be type A on you guys, but I'm learning how creating this type of organization will really reduce what you have to keep in your brain. So let's say you have a document, a graphic that you made, or a PDF, or by all means like a binder, I don't know, that has, this is what you do in the first 30 days. Like, this is what you do in the first 2 weeks. This is what you do to start your first challenge group. Well, that's funny, because all these systems that I'm talking about are actually already created for us. And they are all offered to us for free in our Coach Online office. Don't you love that $15.95 business service fee? Because they have done all of the work to provide these systems for us. We just need to tap into it. We need to tap into the systems that are already effective and that are already working, so we do less work. Set a clear goal for people when you're onboarding them. I say onboarding, whether a customer or a coach. Providing accountability. Yikes. When I heard this from a mentor, it says you are failing your team if you're not offering accountability. And I'm talking about accountability at every level. If somebody wants to hit Emerald rank, hold them accountable. If somebody wants to hit Success Club 10 for the first time, hold them accountable. If somebody wants to do their tracker for 7 days in a row, hold them accountable. Okay, so providing accountability is really going to be the secret sauce when we're talking about leadership development, and we're talking about somebody who's going to look to you and say, I can count on her. Providing some structure, whether it's, hey, if when you turn in your tracker to me 4 times in a row, then we can do a one-on-one call. That type of high-level accountability will create action and momentum. And also transparency. We never need to pretend that we're perfect in all of this, because I hope that you all know I trial and error stuff all the time. I want to innovate what I'm doing. I want to improve where my business is, communicating or marketing. Like, I'm really learning Instagram and I'm enjoying it, but I'm not an expert by any means. It's okay to be transparent, but the systems that we set in place provide the structure that you need, regardless if you're having a really, really bad day. Your team can still rely on the security and safety and leadership of those systems, and they're dependent on that. If you want to micromanage somebody, don't micromanage your people, micromanage your systems. And always pointed back to, well, have you done this? Okay, you haven't, then this is where we need to go. If you want action, then follow these steps. How do you teach the systems? Okay, so if you're doing something that is effective, if it's working for you, but if it's not working for your team, then it's not working at all. So let's say you just got lucky, okay? And that's fine. Like, sometimes that happens, or attraction marketing. Sometimes you just get lucky and a customer falls in your lap. But what have you done to kind of stir up that attraction marketing? Or what have you done to kind of stir up that trust to get them to the point where they finally said yes? You have to dig deep and say, what did you do? Because there could have been something that you could duplicate. Duplication is the beauty behind having a long, sustainable business with network marketing. I want you to understand it's not just what you can do, but it's what you can teach. And sometimes you get much better at what you do when you force yourself to teach it to somebody on your team, because then you actually have to say, oh crap, I have to explain this? So let me see if I have this all buttoned up. Oh crap, now I have to see if this works. Let me put it into practice for a couple of days to make sure what I'm teaching is actually effective. So that is a level of accountability on yourself. And then you put your posture up and say, you know what, I'm going to lead them and I can be a coach. So I'm going to make sure it's not just working for me, but that it will work for them. And you have to trust it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is duplication. Systems are duplicatable. And to create these volume bonuses, these team cycle bonuses that we know and love, okay, so it's not only about your retail, which is awesome, because that's you leading by example, and that's you getting new customers and new prospects. But to really develop this sustainable business that can work without you, like if you take a week vacation, you don't have to panic and like fight with your husband the whole time. If you literally have to unplug, put your phone down and say, you know what, for the next 48 hours, I am going to be free. You don't have to be so stressed out if you're not plugged in for a couple of hours, or be so stressed out if there's a certain season of, like, let's say there's a day that you have to, your appointment, doctor's office, or something traumatic happened. Your business can still run without you if you have been diligent and proactive to set up systems that are duplicatable, that your team will continue to do, and that you can also trust them to get right back to the swing of things. If they ever got off track, go back to the systems. So we need to keep simple systems. There's 5 different systems. 5, which reminds me, 5 golden rings. We were talking about Christmas today, and my child sang that song, which is awesome. 5 different systems that I want us to start thinking through, that I want you to think, okay, what do I do in each of these areas that 1 is working, and 2 that I could teach my team to do? And if these areas are not working for you, then I'm going to show you at the end of the call what I'm doing, and that what I'm going to hopefully, pass on to Moxie and say, hey, you pick and choose this, but these systems work and they're simple, but you can create it on your own because you're your own boss, right? But these are just systems, team-wide systems that we have at our fingertips. First is prospecting, which is a fancy way of saying, how do you get customers? How do you get coaches? Can you imagine how free and how safe it would feel if the first question out of your new coach's mouth was, okay, well now how do I start a challenge group? Okay, well how do I sell a challenge pack? Well, what if somebody asked me this? What if you had a step-by-step system of, okay, look, let's get on a getting started right call. Let's talk about your goals. The next step, I'm going to set you up with some training. And here's how you get a prospect. Here's how you get a customer. I know for me, starting out as a coach, those are my main questions. My main questions weren't, oh, well, what about this spreadsheet? And what about the national wake-up call? And what about this tracker thing that somebody told me about one time? And team cycle bonus. So all I was thinking about was, okay, I'm a coach. How do I sell this? What? Let's keep it simple. How do you get a customer? How do you get a coach? Let's simplify that and put it in some steps for people, including ourselves. Next, do we have a system for presenting the business, like ongoing and automated way to share the business opportunity? Is that something that you talk about each month? Is that something that you talk about each quarter? Is that something you talk about each week? Or is it just like every now and again you're like, oh yeah, I should probably talk about it. Oh yeah, I probably should talk about it. Or do you have a system in place where you nurture somebody's relationship, you invest in them, and you funnel them into the invite, you host a webinar, and then follow up? Those are kind of systems that we're going to talk about. And it doesn't have to be as complicated as I'm sounding right now, because once you organize your month in a certain way, it will just manage you. So you look at your day and say, oh yeah, this week is this promotion. Next week is that type of promotion. Okay, so the third system you need to have is onboarding. How is a coach supposed to be onboarded? I don't want you to be stressed out about that. Guys, you are capable of leading an amazing empire. You are capable of leading people. You are capable of being a coach who develops leaders. And keeping your onboarding process simple, 1, that you can trust, and 2, where you don't blame yourself if they have failure to launch. You can just trust that this system works, and you invest in them and encourage them and keep them accountable, and then it will work. But if they're not working, it's not your fault. If you're not working, that's not my fault. That's your fault. So I have to just trust these systems of, hey, these prospecting systems work. Presenting the business works. Onboarding system, the training we have, works. But it's the coach's responsibility to actually put the action in. Do you see the difference here? It kind of frees you up from the responsibility of saying, it must be me and I'm not doing good enough. You are doing good enough if you're following this kind of duplicatable process. 4th is leadership development. Okay, so as you have coaches consistently improving and growing, you could set things up like a book to read together, or leadership development, like, hey, everybody who hit Success Club this month, we are going to whatever, like, I'm going to send you this webinar, or we're going to have weekly Zooms and talk about some mastermind stuff, or you're going to work together to host a sneak peek into coaching. Leadership development is just giving these new young coaches, or even veteran coaches, whoever is on your team, or even challengers, responsibility. You're going to be empowering them. I've heard a lot of times people say that they were able to empower their challengers by, one, complimenting what they're, like a really good challenger, like complimenting what they're doing, and then giving them responsibility, like, hey, you're doing a really good job, so would you mind tomorrow going live in the page and just sharing your experience and giving some tips on how you meal prep? They would be like, oh gosh, me, little old me. That's empowering them, which is slowly but surely developing them into a leader, which could eventually develop into a coach. That happens the same way with coaching. You can do the same thing with your team. It's just giving them a little bit of responsibility, delegating some things, empowering them, making sure that they are continuing to grow personally, and they're going to be like, you know what, I can do this. So, but fifth thing, recognition. Have a system in place where you recognize consistently, not just every now and again, not just flip-flop around like, to this week I'm going to recognize this week I'm going to recognize this. Personal example, which is super silly. When I first started as a coach, I noticed that Brittany started recognizing Success Club, and I was really excited. I was like, oh, well then whatever you recognize, I want to achieve, because I want to be at the top of the leaderboard. I was like super, Ruby leader, if you know the leadership gyms, if you know the personality gyms by Danny Johnson, there's different gyms. So Ruby is the one who's like super competitive, super duper, like want to be on top all the time. And so I was like, I will be on the top and I will dominate the world. And then one week, because she's human, I think that I was super pumped that I added like 4 points in 1 week. And I was like, y'all watch this, I'm about to be at the top of the board. And then she forgot to post the leaderboard that week. And I was like, oh. So I feel bad throwing her under the bus, because I have done that a million times. But it was just a good lesson for me to think, my people, you guys, my customers, my coaches, like, I want you guys to have that excitement and pride of how hard you're working and the efforts. And so for me to forget to recognize that could kind of like, steal some wind out of some sales. That's why I did a big thing on the 20% increase on PV last month, because I wanted these coaches who might not be able to grab 500 PV yet. I wanted to make sure that we recognize their growth. I don't care if it was going from 90 PV to 120 PV. That is growth. Okay. So we are recognized movement forward. That type of recognition is positive. So we need to simplify our job by letting our systems run things. So here are a couple of ways that I personally am going through these systems, and I will be teaching my new coaches and my PS coaches, and hopefully if this is something that's easy and effective for you, you can duplicate as well. But what I like to think about for prospecting is knowing that this system works. Now, you can choose how you keep up with the names of the people on your list. Like if you are, what I created this thing called the 7-step funnel system. Okay. I still think that's effective. You can tweak it and improve it. But if you want to write down names of people on a paper and pen, if you want to do it on an Excel spreadsheet, if you want to create like a fancier way to keep up with people, that's fine. You tickle your fancy. But these 5 like cornerstones, this is prospecting. You till the field. What does that mean? I'm going to go through this quickly because I can lead a webinar on any of 5 of these systems. But really quickly, till the field means you get the crop ready. Like you get the ground ready by you placing yourself out there, you sharing your content consistently, you showing up and being a product of the product, you vocalizing the fact that you are a coach and that there is an open invite out there for people to join your team. You tilling the field is really the marketing side of it. Okay. Like you establishing credibility, you establishing consistency, expanding your friends and followers. So it's just, you're getting things ripe. That's just it. That's part of it. Second, you plant the seed. You go out there and you go for the ask. And you could do the PB&J method that I forget her name, Megan Kwasiowski, or maybe that's her old name. She talked about the PB&J method where you compliment, you invite, you compliment, and then you follow up. Okay. So invite people to join your challenge groups, join your free groups, join your coach team. You have to plant seeds. You can't just till the field and then water the dirt. There has to be a seed in there that you plant. Don't just be like, well, I'm going to water. I'm going to be really, really nice to this person until they start to blossom. There's no seed to blossom unless you've planted the seed. You can't skip from 1 to 4 or 2 to 5. You have to start from 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. So after you planted the seed, water that seed by showering them with likes and comments and following up. Really invest in them. Now, I know that number 3 can occupy a lot of our time because we're like, okay, can they see me now? Like, am I doing enough? And then we might overwater because we're afraid to follow up on the invite. And so then we drown them. And then they're like, I hate network marketing and whatever. Like, we don't want to be those grimy people, but we want to till the field, which is you elevating yourself as a leader, as an expert in this area, somebody who they can rely on, who's consistent. Plant the seed, water the seed, sunshine, shine on them, add value, not just to them, but anyone in your, let's say anyone in your newsfeed, okay? What I like to do personally is I till the field, I seed, I water, and I shine by adding them to my email list. So I ask their email, and if they're on my email list, then I send periodic emails, whether it's for a sale, whether it's just an article that I read, whether it's something to do with my upcoming free group. And so I'm kind of like dripping at them. I'm shining value, like, oh, here's this great thing. But I'm not doing it one-on-one. They're just in this email list. So I have this large list of people that are prospects, essentially, that I get to continue watering and shining on. But it doesn't really take that much effort on my part because of this system. I have a group that I send things to, and it's not, I haven't talked to this person in 4 months. How am I supposed to follow up? Because then she's just going to think the only reason I talk to her is to get a sale. No, what you can do instead is, oh, you know what? Every month for the past 4 months, she's been getting an email from me, so I've been in her inbox, so she knows I care. So I'm going to go ahead and like and comment on her stuff and follow up with her on an invite. That's an easier way for me to follow the system. And then 5, repeat. Go from the beginning. Go ahead and till it again. Improve constantly. This will get you customers. This will get you coaches. And if you follow these 5 steps and you're not selling products and you're not adding coaches to your team, then there's a gap. Then there's a really big gap that you need to fix. And that's every coach in the entire network can constantly fix these 5 areas, but don't overcomplicate it. This is the solution and the formula. Okay, the other system, business opportunity. This is just a really easy way that I have been inviting, and I hope to tweak it because I haven't really seen this effective yet, because I think that my gap is on the last step. I haven't been following up effectively. But the first thing is I talk about it on Instagram or Facebook. I do a lot of stories on Instagram, and so I'll go through these 2 weeks where I'll talk a lot about coaching, and then I'll save those stories into a highlight, the little bubbles at the bottom, and I have business Q&A. Well, I go to those highlights, and anyone new who has seen them, I invite them. So my goal, I have a tracker that I follow. I try to do 5 business invites every single day. 5, Monday through Friday, so every single day. Okay, and then they'll respond back, yay or nay, or yeah, I'm interested, and I PB&J them, the compliment, the invite, to go for it. And then I send them this site because it's automated. It's something that I could send and then still focus on something else. Or if I'm on the go, I can send and still, be present with my kids. But moxieishere.com is a site that we created to host, information about coaching. And also they can submit their email and then get an 11-minute video about what is coaching. So I don't have to wait to do the sneak peek once a month. I don't have to wait to do a live webinar, essentially, but I can ask them to watch this 11-minute video on this landing page. I have their email. They're going to watch this video, and I need to follow up with them better. So the 4th step is really important. Set a day and time to talk. So follow up with them and then continue to do this first part by tilling, seeding, watering, shining, or repeating. But this is really how you can easily present the business opportunity. Onboarding. This is also super easy. Even though it looks really wordy, I promise you it's still simple. So far, this is what I'm doing to onboard my new coaches. Again, I'm always excited about improving, always excited about tweaking and evolving. But right now, this is the system that I am following. I add them to the team page, give them a little welcome message. I do a getting started right call to kind of talk about my story, see where they're at, discount hobby builder, kind of gauge it that way. If you guys wanted something a little bit more structured, there's something called the first 30. It kind of has you send them like this checklist to do before you get on the phone call, and they kind of know what to expect, and you know what bullet points to talk about. It could be that easy. Those are all in your Coach Online office and systems that are already set up for us. Once you know if they're a hobby or a builder coach, invite them to the New Coach Mentorship app. It is really, really easy. It's 24 lessons. It's self-paced, but it goes through everything from setting up your office, which can be really exciting when you're a new coach and you're like getting in the mindset of, okay, this is a business. Oh my gosh, well, what do I do and how do I get started? First day is, hey, just set up a space to work. Get a little bit organized. Here's what you can expect. And it walks them through the entire process, and then it has an amazing, amazing content. It is kind of lengthier, so it is self-paced, which is really cool, but some of the webinars within the lessons are like an hour long. So I really love this training, but I'm hesitant to think that long-term this will be a solution for my team, because my ladies need really short and like to the point content and training. And then also the fourth thing, when you're onboarding, after you have added them to the team page, after you've talked about their goals, figure out the coach training, lead by example. And I really have been appreciating the tracker lately. Like I've been tracking things. And so bring them back to the prospecting system. Okay. How can you help them stay accountable, especially with their first 90 days of a coach? If they really do want to be a hobby or a builder coach, lead them back to the prospecting system, because the more little wins that they have at the beginning, the more confident they will be, and the more effective it'll be, because they'll think, I can do this, I can do this. So little bitty wins can go a really long way, which leads me to this last point, which is recognition. Okay. So whatever you want repeated, recognize. If you want them to have killer volume, you recognize it. If you want them to hit Success Club, you recognize it. If you want them to advance and rank, you recognize every additional step forward towards a rank advancement or other fun things. You can get creative and have fun with it. We have done a bunch of different things within Moxie to recognize, but I try to keep very consistent with 500 PV and Success Club, because yes, I want those two repeated, and then I also have to hold myself to that same standard. So I think in here I skipped leadership development, but I talked about it a little bit. But that is something where you within your team page, you can host some leadership things. You guys can collaborate. You can work with your success partners and offer some empowerment, which we talked about that. So keep it simple, guys. Okay, so systems really, really are important. They can operate your business in a way where you can automate it, or you could delegate it, or you could batch it. So why do we need to simplify? Why do we need to have systems manage us? Because eventually your business and my business, it's going to outgrow what we are capable of doing in a typical work week. Or the responsibilities of your life will, get a little bit more, and you'll think, well, how am I supposed to still keep this plate spinning when I'm needed over here a little bit more? And it's systems. You can automate things. You can be smart about it. Or when you get to a point where you might want to delegate things, you can outsource them. If you want to outsource your graphics, people will do your graphics for, next to nothing on sites like Fiverr.com or what is the other one? I forget. But I've gone through a series of virtual assistants, and it's been very, very helpful in very busy times of my life. I also have an automated system with MailChimp, which is where I do all my automated emails. For example, the moxieishere.com site, once they submit their email, automatically I've created a system where they get an email with the link to the webinar. And if they don't answer it, if they don't open that link, they get another email. And if they don't answer that email, they get another email. Did y'all know that? So that's automated. I don't have to go back and follow up. That happens automatically because I just spent a day and I created that. And it goes to any prospect, not just people who put in my name. If they put in your name, they still get the reminders of where you at, what's going on? Hey, we don't want to miss it. Last time, I don't want to bug you, but really quick, can you watch this? And I'll follow up. So it's a really cool way for me to continue to add value, but it's automated where my hand is out of it. And that happens even on the days that I work less hours. And that's the beauty of systems, is that you can set it up, and not just within email systems and stuff like that. Because you don't have to be tech savvy to set it up, but you can learn it. It's super simple. You could set up other automated things like scheduling your challenge group post ahead of time, or creating a content calendar so you know if you're looking at your month what kind of things you're going to be posting about each week. So that's out of your head, out of your mind, and it's already formulated for you. Or batching, which is like when you do a bunch of things at once. I know when I have my to-do list, I kind of group things together, and I'm like, here's 1 through 10 of what I'm doing today. Oh, these 2 things will probably each take 5 minutes. I'm going to knock it out, boom, right, like before I feed Scotty or something. So batching is like doing things really quickly in a short amount of time as fast as you can. Automating is a bit different. Delegating is a bit different. And that's really how you continue to expand and have this business work even without you. I mean, your leadership is always going to be there. And that's why I appreciate the leadership and the team that we're on. Lindsay Matway, she's working very, very hard. Brittany Leggett is working very, very hard. These leaders that lead us, like, yes, they have systems in place, but it's not like their hands are completely out of it. No, their hands are still in this business, but they have created these systems as well. And so they're able to focus on leadership development and focus on family, maintain their priorities while still building a business that is bringing in 7 figures. Now, how about you? But that sounds pretty awesome. I definitely want to celebrate 7 figures one day. So, do you guys have any questions before we end? Feel free to unmute yourself or chat in the chat box. Oh yeah, me too. Me too. Nothing. Okay. I love you guys. So appreciate you guys being on. I hope that you grabbed your pumpkin spice. If you didn't, buy it soon. It's going to sell out. And let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to upload this and then post the slides in the team page. Okay. Love y'all. Bye.